Yes, I know what you're wondering. Why am I dressed like Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil 4? Well, one, I am super hyped for the Resident Evil 4 remake coming out next year, and two, it's Halloween. And for my last Halloween video, at least for this year, I had to do something cool for the occasion other than just me being in my Halloween t-shirt and my trick-or-treat hat. So yeah, and since I'm reviewing another zombie movie, I feel like, why not? It would make more sense if I was reviewing one of the Resident Evil movies, but I'm not. I'm concluding my George A. Romero movie reviews with Day of the Dead. Now, I reviewed all these movies already, and including this one, but I feel like I would definitely be better at them today. But anyways, in this film, of course, there was Night of the Living Dead, then Dawn of the Dead, now we have Day of the Dead. In this film, we follow a group of mercenaries who go to a city filled to the brim with zombies. No one there is alive, and pretty much they travel underground. And during so, there's this military, I guess, chief named Rhodes, who basically wants every single living creature dead, of course, because they're zombies now. Meanwhile, there's this scientist named Logan who's actually trying to study zombies and exactly what makes them walk and stuff like that. But not only that, he's also training zombies to behave like regular human beings. And from there, we get one of the most memorable movie zombies in movie history, Bub. Now, people consider this to be the weakest in George A. Romero's Of the Dead trilogy. This is going to be an unpopular opinion, but this is actually my favorite out of all of them. In fact, this is my favorite zombie movie of all time. I know, crazy, right? But there's just a lot that I absolutely love about this movie that it was just hard for me not to enjoy it. And at the time, this movie was panned by critics. Sure, nowadays it has a decent Rotten Tomatoes score, but at the time, people were really trashing this movie. And I don't really understand because the last two movies were just as loved, if not controversial, because these are very controversial films at the time, especially this one. But I didn't read into all that. All I know is that this movie didn't get the love that it deserved back then. Nowadays, it's remembered as a cult classic, and rightfully so. There was just so much that I thought this movie did slightly better than the last two movies, especially when it comes to its effects. Its effects are absolutely outstanding. This is by far the most violent out of all of them, and if all you came for was violence, then this movie should not disappoint you in the slightest. Also, its characters, too. I think Rhodes is probably one of the most memorable villains of the whole series. In fact, he's my favorite villain out of all of them because the last two movies kind of lacked in terms of having a good villain. This one truly has a memorable villain, and he's a complete dick, okay? You do not like this guy whatsoever. And even though he wants humanity to survive, he just does things pretty much his way. And there are other characters. There's a female protagonist, and of course, others as well that are trying to escape, and then others who end up being dead and just keep being complete dicks as well. But the movie manages to never shy away from what makes a zombie movie so memorable. It never shies away from violence. It never shies away from its tense moments, and its soundtrack too is very underrated, especially its main theme, the one that goes like duh, 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 duh. I honestly love the music in here. It's my favorite by far, and it definitely separates apart because from George A. Romero's last two films, we started off in a house, then in a mall, now underground, which seems like it would be much safer, but no, later down the lines, there would definitely be a lot more trouble. Now, like I mentioned before, it has the best makeup effects out of all of them, especially for the zombies. Like, spoilers, by the way, like with the opening scene with the one zombie whose jaw is completely gone and all that's left is his tongue falling out. It looks very impressive. All the makeup effects and gore look very impressive to this day. And it's something that I think George A. Romero managed to get better at over the years with these films. And story-wise, I think it's by far one of his most memorable stories that he had to tell. It still has the social commentary, but really, this is a movie where it shows that zombies aren't just people to kill, because when it gets to the moments with Bub and the doctor trying to study Bub, it's actually very, I don't know, but it was very memorable as the scientist is trying to study Bub like if he were still human inside, and he's trying to get him to behave like a human, and he's mostly succeeding at it. I mean, he shows him how to shave, how to use a toothbrush, and even how to use a gun. Though when he gives him a gun, the gun's empty. But just how to defend himself, even how to salute like that. Even showing him how to listen to music. And he reaches out to Bub, but instead of Bub just grabbing him and just eating his flesh, no, he just then copies what he does. He puts his finger and then just presses the button on the recorder. It was a very nice moment, and it's probably the most memorable thing about the entire movie is Bub. He's the show stealer. And really, though, what makes it all even better is that he rewards Bub with remains of one of Rhodes' men who were already dead. And of course, Rhodes gets furious and he murders him. And later down the line, Bub, who is attached to a chain, manages to escape that chain. And then he sees the doctor dead. And when he does, he gets sad. He gets very emotional. And that's something you would never see from a zombie. And like usually you would probably just see like, oh, this guy's dead. I'm just going to eat his guts. But no, he doesn't do that. It's actually a very emotional scene. And it made me feel bad. And knowing that this guy who was taking care of him and teaching him his ways, he was pissed, and he sees a gun, and he picks that gun up, and he pretty much goes out for revenge. Yeah, it sounds ridiculous, but it's actually not that ridiculous because, sure, a zombie with a gun sounds like it would be absolutely stupid, but no, it's actually done in a very unique way. When it gets close to the end of the movie, instead of Bud just like ripping humans apart, he uses the gun, and when he does see Rhodes, who is completely trapped, and when he tries to escape, there's a horde of zombies right behind him as he opens the door. And then Bub just shoots him right in the gut, causing him to fall over. And then he gets ripped apart by the zombies. And instead of Bub going over there to join in with his friends as they're completely tearing him apart, nope. He just salutes them, walks away, and just leaves them to just eat his guts. Probably one of the most memorable zombie kills of all time, in my opinion. I think it has a great beginning, middle, and end. I love what George A. Romero has done here, and it shows that when it comes to zombie films, he always manages to put something a little different, making the films not just the same movie over and over. It's by far the most deep, in my opinion, and yeah, many people will definitely not agree with that, but for me, this is just one that I just enjoyed watching over and over, and I've watched it more than Dawn of the Dead or Night of the Living Dead, because those are great films. But right here, this is truly one of the more entertaining ones. It's not too long, it doesn't drag on too much, and I actually enjoy what the characters were doing, just like in the previous two movies. It manages to have that same feel of George A. Romero, and shows how far George A. Romero has come. And later on, he would do other things other than just zombie movies. He would do anthology films like Creepshow, a movie about a killer monkey with monkey shines, and other films too. Even The Crazies, I don't remember much from that film, but I remember not liking it that much. But in the end, guys, Day of the Dead might not be everyone's cup of tea, but is by far my most watched zombie film. This is one that I enjoy popping in all the time. It has a great storyline that's still just as good as the previous two of the Dead movies, and its social commentary with society is still there. Its characters are still there. It has everything that I love seeing from a zombie film, minus the comedy genre, because I love seeing that as well. But this is not a comedy. No, this is a movie that takes itself very seriously. But for me, this is by far the most unsettling, because this has a lot of disturbing imagery that you definitely shouldn't watch if you recently just ate. But I enjoy watching this film over and over, and it is my favorite zombie film and my favorite George A. Romero film. The last two movies are masterpieces, but this one, there was just something about this one that I enjoyed more, and it really deserved more love, and I love watching every single second of it every time I watch it. I rewatched it again, and it definitely held up. So it shows that there are definitely fans for this one, and I'm one of those fans. It's definitely one of the more unpopular opinions out there, but hey, I can't lie. I absolutely love this one, just like the last two films. And there is a collector's edition of this, but I think I might wait if that gets a 4K release. I know the last two movies actually are in 4K. Someone actually mentioned that Criterion did release a 4K of Night of the Living Dead. There's also the UK import of 4K of Dawn. I mentioned that before, but yeah. Anyways, this concludes my Halloween movie review series. Stick around for next year when I continue on. So yeah, hope you guys have a happy Halloween. I'm gonna go put this away, go eat some candy, and I'll see you guys later. Word out. Oh yeah, my next movie review. There's a lot of movies coming out in November that I want to see. I just, I don't know why. I feel like there was something coming out this week that I really, really wanted to see, and I just can't remember. But I'm sure I will remember eventually. But yeah, see ya. Ugh. I have no idea why I still have this. This is by far the worst remake out of the bunch. Ugh. Huh? Luffy? What are you doing? Hmm? Ah. Now I remember what's next.